In June 2024, I got my master's degree in Sweden, but this isn't a graduation video. It's a story about what happened before that, starting in August 2022. I had dreamed of studying abroad since I was 19, but at that time, my family couldn't really support me financially. So I placed that dream deep inside my heart and waited for the right moment. 2022 became that moment. I experienced what people call a black swan event, the pandemic. In 2021, I lost my job as a cabin crew member. I received a compensation package from the company, but emotionally, I was completely lost. I didn't want to stay in my hometown for the rest of my life. I felt like I didn't belong there, and there was no life there that I wanted to live. At that time, I had no clear way out, just the feeling of being stuck, like being pulled into a black hole. So I started to take stock of what I had. I had some savings, I had time, and I needed an opportunity. Studying abroad felt like the only way forward. Preparing to leave in 2022 wasn't easy, but in the end, I made it. On August 15, 2022, I was ready to fly to Sweden. My parents accompanied me from our hometown to Shenzhen. From there, I had to take a ferry to reach Hong Kong airport. The flight from Hong Kong to Copenhagen was the cheapest ticket I could find at the time, but it also meant a more complicated journey. Train to Shenzhen, a ferry to Hong Kong, and then the flight out. Before I really left, I hugged my parents. Tears rolled down my cheeks, but at the same time, I felt excited, ready to embrace a new life. Hong Kong airport was unusually empty and quiet. I flew first to Doha, where I had a transfer. When I arrived there, it felt like stepping into a completely different world, a long-lost sense of normal life. After a few hours in Doha, I boarded the flight again, the flight to Copenhagen, to the life I had been looking forward to for so many years. A new life began with deep cleaning a shared kitchen. To save money, I chose to live in a corridor room. I bought a white IKEA drawer, the same one I had used back home. The only difference was that this time, I had to assemble it on my own. The day I went to learn to pick up my student card, the weather wasn't perfect. But I finally saw my dream library with my own eyes. To make full use of my first Skåne single ticket, I made a last-minute decision to go to Malmo. By coincidence, I arrived on the very last day of the Malmo festival. Being among people again felt almost unreal. August 23rd, 2022, I went to Lund to attend the welcome concert.
今天我要准备去隆德看welcome concert.
It was a beautiful sunny day. Sitting inside Lund Cathedral dating back to 1085, and being one of the students of a university founded in 1668. Listening to the choir, everything felt like a dream, and yet incredibly real. Then came the colorful introduction week. Senior students organized a Swedish barbecue on the beach. That was when I first experienced the sunlight along the coast of Helsingborg. The next day, we went to the city hall to learn about different organizations. I was never a fan of cinnamon before, But in that moment, having a cinnamon bun with a cup of black coffee, I suddenly understood why people love it so much. Later, we visit Sophia Palace. What still stayed with me is the sunlight filtering through the leaves when I looked up, the long bridge stretching through the forest, and the band members completely absorbed, enjoying the moment as they played.
Why not take all of me? Can't you see?
Life gradually settled into routines, studying, deadlines, and everyday repetition. Reading a large number of papers and books was not easy. The education system in Sweden is different. Each course lasts only 1 or 2 months, followed immediately by an examination,
我们这个学期的第一门课昨天已经结束了，
which
然后
meant
从
that
今天
every
开始
month
就
came
是
with new
上一门
readings,
全新的
new
课，全新
deadlines,
的 reading
and new
list，
pressure.
然后全新的任务。
That's why I was always reading. Reading at home, reading in the library, reading on the 7th floor, reading while eating, and even reading on the train. The first winter in Sweden made me experience what a lack of sunlight really felt like.
凌晨3点钟，然后至于我现在为什么还醒着呢？是因为最近好像就是状态有一点没有调整过来，因为现在瑞典这一边的话，随着冬天到来，天就是黑的越来越早了，然后每天又都是见不到太阳，然后都是灰蒙蒙的，然后导致我这个人整天就是昏昏欲睡。
Still, I began to find beauty in the repetition of daily life. Every day, I walked for about 20 minutes to campus. The greenery and tall trees along the way became something I looked forward to every day. To save money and to give myself a break from reading, I cooked and prepared my own lunchboxes. Sometimes I cooked something special. Sometimes I simply enjoyed a small hot pot in my room. Exploring sustainable practices outside the classroom also became a part of my everyday life. Whenever I had time to take the train, I looked out of the window, not wanting to miss the view. When I felt truly stressed, I would pick a random place on Google Maps and spend some quiet time alone in nature. Time passed quietly. The first semester ended.
2022年12月22号，我现在去上这个学期的最后一节课。
My first Christmas in Sweden arrived.
Christmas train!
And then there were moments that reminded me I was handling it all on my own. February 28, 2023. On the last day before moving out, I cleaned the room for the final time.
28日，然后我今天呢，主要就是要从我住的这个宿舍搬出去啦。
Wiping the windows and the window sills, cleaning the desk, sweeping the corners that always seem to collect dust, scrubbing the drain, mopping the floor. Slowly, the room became empty again. I said goodbye to it, the room I had lived for 6 months. However, in the end, I was still charged 700 krona for not cleaning well. There was one day between moving out and moving into my new place. To save money, I decided to spend that day without a home.
Homeless 的一天是如何度过的？
After checking out, I went to the university library and studied there. I called the new landlord, confirming the time to pick up the keys. On the 7th floor of the university building, I ate the meal I had prepared in advance, eating while joining a group meeting. Later that evening, I returned to the dormitory, to the common area on the 6th floor.
住的那个公寓的公共区域，然后今天晚上就在这边度过一夜。
After dinner, another group meeting. When it was finally time to rest, I pushed the sofas together and turned them into a bed. I borrowed 2 down jackets from friends and used them as blankets. Before going to sleep, I read a few more papers. Then I spent the night on the sofas in the common area. In the morning, I put everything back exactly the way it was. I went to pick up the keys to my new room and got ready to move in. A new place, another start. There was one more small episode. I bought a second-hand bed from a thrift store. That was also when I experienced bed bug bites for the first time in my life. When I search through my memory palace, these are the moments that return to me. The first image is a tree I passed every day on my way to campus. I give it the unofficial title of the most beautiful tree in Helsingborg. Then there is the small park across the road from my dormitory. I love the gravel path, sheltered by tall trees. Whether it was lush and green in summer or bare and quiet in winter, no matter how many times I walked through it, I was always moved by how the city of Helsingborg slowly revealed itself ahead of me. I often tell people how deeply I miss the sunsets in Helsingborg. Whenever sunset light flooded the room, I would rush out of my dormitory without hesitation.
特别好看，所以你看我脸上现在就是这个夕阳的光，非常好看。
Just to chase the sunset, sitting on the beach, teasing the little ducks under the fading light, and marveling at how, even after the sun had disappeared, the afterglow could still feel so ethereal. During those 2 years in Helsingborg, sunsets were no longer rare moments, but something I could return to again and again. It was also there that I repeatedly found my way back to nature, excitedly capturing photos of a pony I happened to come across, building my first campfire in the forest, chicken legs grilled over burning wood, juicy and delicious, even without any seasoning. The long winter nights felt less heavy because of Christmas. Standing among the crowd in the square below the steps, watching the performance as the holiday approached. The moment the Christmas lights were turned on, the long darkness suddenly felt warm. Of course, there was also the unforgettable heavy snow. After snowfall, the sky would take on a clear pink and blue tone, dreamlike and unreal. Through that white filter, I also learned how difficult it was to shovel snow. Time passed quietly. Before I realized it, it was already the thesis semester. In our department, theses are written in pairs. My partner and I found a local organization to work with. Most days we gathered on the 7th floor, spending entire days there, working on what we half-jokingly called our kid. May 14th, thesis submitted. And then came another moving out. This time, it was a real goodbye to the student dormitory. June 4th, 2024. I returned to Lund with my friends. We celebrated our important moment together. After the ceremony, we raised our glasses of champagne. We didn't know what the future would look like. We simply stayed in that moment,
for graduation,
enjoying the last time we were all there together. I didn't end up finding a permanent job in Sweden that could sponsor my work permit in the following year. But I have no regrets about the 2 years I spent enjoying life as a student. Some chapters don't give you answers. They give you yourself.